Okay, so our prelims for Santos and Walker, we were the headline of the prelims was Joe Solecki and was this Jared Gordon?
Uh,
Because there's a Jared
Jared
Gooden or
Gordon. Yeah,
something.
Jared
Yeah,
Gordon.
okay. I mix up Gordon and Gooden. Okay, so these two was a good fight, split decision. I didn't agree with that. You didn't agree with that.
No,
You said
not
you
at
had
all.
some more stuff to discuss on this one. How did you kind of see this one?
I mean, I thought Selecki's round one pressure was insane. The round was, at least for me, the round was dominant. I came out of that one thinking he took that 10-8.
I agree.
In round two, Gordon just basically sat on Selecki. He didn't really capitalize on the fact that, he had top position. And, I think round three was kind of equal between the two of them. The scoring is what threw me off because I had this pegged as a draw, and we go into that split decision, and it just kind of threw me for a loop. Yeah, uh, I don't know what else to say. Like Selecki was just really dominant in that first, and I'm just gonna repeat myself if I keep going.
I mean, if it seems like what happened here, and I feel like this has happened before. It's almost like the given that Selecki won the first round, and I thought he lost the second and third, but given that he won the first round 10-8, it was almost like that got forgotten. Like I don't know how the judges do it. Like I don't know if they have like a sheet of paper in front of them and they're like splitting their notes round one, two, and three. If they're even taking notes, if they're even watching the fights, I don't know how any of it works with them. But it's almost like he got punished for doing like performing that well early because I thought it was clearly 10-8. And I'm not like overly liberal with the 10-8s,
No, neither am I.
but the only thing I can think of that maybe would have saved round one from being a 10-8 was the fact that Gordon ended on top of in round one. But that was like the last 30, 40 seconds. 4 minutes and change. He was getting he was getting his butt handed to them. But I don't know. I guess the ending of that round was enough to make it just a 10-9. And I guess you could maybe sway me on that. I'm not, but I was pretty set on the 10-8. Split didn't surprise me though. And I felt again, given that it happened kind of early. But I mean, you could clearly see the holes on both of the guys. You could see Selecki was the guy that had the ground and was more dominant there, which is how it was kind of built up coming into the fight. And you can see when they were on their feet, that was Gordon's advantage. And ultimately, it seemed like also Selecki got kind of tired third round. He didn't even try and take him down and stayed on his feet entirely. And he didn't have anything behind him. And Gordon kind of mentioned he was working on the cardio. His cardio looked better than Selecki in the third. And I guess the impression of it too, and just kind of how they made it look, I guess, was for enough for them to get a win there, for him to get a win there. It was a good fight though, better than really anything on the main, minus the performance by Hernandez. So those are those two guys. Then we had Casey O'Neill versus Antonina Schevchenko. Antonina following up after her sister's dominance performance a week ago. Casey O'Neill entering this fight undefeated, 2-0 in the UFC with two finishes. I was looking forward to this fight to see what Casey O'Neill was going to do. Casey O'Neill was a little bit more than a 2-1 favorite. I figured she would win. I had a three-leg parlay with Ladd, O'Neill, and Nico Price. I didn't lock it in because I ended up overthinking on O'Neill, thinking somehow Shevchenko pulls it out because she's been alternating wins and losses. Her sister won last week. I let emotions get involved. I stayed away from it. Ended up costing me. It's okay. O'Neill did what I think we both expected her to do in the end, though. Just absolutely dominated her. Shevchenko in the beginning round was kind of looking like maybe she's kind of fixed some of her
Yeah,
stuff,
she
but then
did.
ultimately O'Neill overpowered her.
No, she absolutely looked like she had a shot in the first, and then, well, in the beginning half of the first, and then it was just all downhill from there, man. And
Yeah,
it's sad to see, dude, because that name brand, that power that's behind that, the pressure has to be insane. Your sister's a
sure.
champion.
Your younger
It,
sister.
your younger sister, yeah, like the headspace has to be what's throwing her off. Cause well, then again, no, I mean she's not. She's kind of sloppy. I don't feel like she's very solid technically.
Her hole is the ground. She is doesn't prevent it well from happening. And then the same way she got finished on her back, if I'm not mistaken, when she was fighting KGB. Uh, so I mean, O'Neill. We were talking about Santos last week, Talia Santos. For maybe someone watching the 125 class. Same thing can be said about ONeill, undefeated again coming in. Now she's 3-0 in the UFC with 3 finishes too. Always nice when the women can end it before going the distance. Not as common as we see. The lines indicated it too. I think the over under was like over was only like -130 or -135, something like that, which is almost the equivalent of it being a favorite for the under. Because usually you'll see it a lot of times well over 2-1 favorite for a women's fight to go over. So let's see what happens with ONeill. So there's a couple of possible prospects, but again, they're nowhere near Valentina yet. Kind of curious to see what they do with Antonina though. Like I wonder if Valentina wasn't there if they would keep her.
Just on a complete aside, usually when we see people come out of a different league or coming out of the contender series, you always see KO sub KO sub, and then they hit the UFC, and it's rare, at least as far as I've seen, it's rare for fighters to get KOs and subs when they actually move up into the UFC. It takes them a little bit of momentum to actually get there. I don't know if any of this is making sense.
I get what you're saying. It's that could just be like the step up in the level of competition too, right?
Yeah.
That and some. You also want to make sure you don't lose your first fight and end up out of the UFC, and different things are at play. You're possibly a little more risk averse entering because you don't want to lose the opportunity. Maybe
Yeah.
that could maybe factor into it.
So I mean, on that note, though, take a look at ONeill. She's had all of her UFC debut fights have been
Mm-hmm.
in 2021,
Yep.
and she's finished all three of them.
Yep.
So that right there has got me kind of thinking, you may have some trouble on your hands. She's certainly not a chump. She's a decent fighter, and I think she proved it.
I can't remember if they asked her when she'd like to fight again. If they can turn her around this year, that'd be cool. Just to give some kind of spark, some kind of thing to look forward to in that division. Again, people are so far away from Valentina, but just build it up a little bit. We are hammering that home last week. Just kind of build something to look forward to
Yeah.
versus like another fight. And speaking of another fight, this I honestly don't have anything to say. Um, Karol Rosa, I I thought her name was pronounced Beth. They kept saying Betch, which
Betch.
hopefully we don't get flagged for saying it.
Wasn't that her
Betch Correia.
nickname or something?
No, I think it's her nickname's like Pitbull or some crap like that. I guess it's because it's Brazilian, so I guess I don't know, they pronounce that Betch, and it's not Correia, it's Correia. But thankfully, that was her last fight. Her in MMA or at least in the UFC, unless Jake Paul's gonna fight her, or I don't know, John Jones maybe. Um, yeah, her
Is John
last
Jones
fight.
out of jail yet?
He's already posting videos with his wife, hostage videos with his wife and stuff. I mean, again, mercifully, end of a career for Bethe Correia. Get her out of there. Karol Rosa. I mean, props. I mean, yeah, you got 125 significant strikes, but it helps when Bethe isn't doing anything. Next, this fight I was looking forward to, and it was. I wish it could have been longer, but I'm with the amount it went, I was satisfied with it. Uh, Devonte Smith and Jamie Mullarkey. We had a video about Jamie Mullarkey's performance last time. I believe he was a dog in that fight too. Can't remember off the top of my head who he knocked out. It's eclipsing my mind right now, but he also he knocked out Kama Worthy. Yeah, Kama Worthy had beat Devonte Smith, and entering this fight, Devonte Smith's lone loss in the UFC was against Kama Worthy. Jamie Mullarkey entered this fight with his last fight being a win against Kama Worthy. I had the round one going for Smith. He looked good.
Oh yeah.
And then round two had it finished. I had going for Mullarkey anyway, but then he ultimately finished it. Dude, the body work was beautiful. The final combinations to seal it, those body shots, you could freaking feel it watching it. And then that last one kind of had him cower, and then he just finalize it. Dude, I'm looking forward to seeing this guy continue fighting Jamie Mullarkey and Devonte Smith, frankly, but especially Jamie Mullarkey.
I was gonna say credit to Smith too, because I don't think he was doing bad. I think
not at all.
What happened is, at least as far as I saw, he completely emptied his gas tank in the first and had nothing left in the second. To me, it looked like he just evaporated, and the way he was piecing Mullarkey up in the first was insane, dude. So if you could keep that pressure up through 3 rounds, you have a serious contender on your hands.
Yeah, again, we talked about it last week too when we were mentioning the lightweights and bantamweights. Lightweights here again. I mean, both of them. Now, Smith is 3-2. It doesn't look like a nice record in the UFC, but when he fights again, hopefully he fights again, I look forward to seeing him because he was looking very, very good in round one. Mullarkey bided his time. He took some damage, came out better on the other side. I mean, look at the numbers too. You wouldn't know looking at that
No.
Smith won round one. If you have the scorecards, pull it up real quick. I'm curious that they did give it to him round one. Uh, Other way. Here we go. Yeah, they all gave round one to Smith, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But again, if you didn't watch the fights and you're looking at just scorecards and you see the significant strikes being almost double in favor of Mullarkey, you would have probably assumed, oh wow, man, this guy probably was taking it 2-0. So it just goes to show what a dominant showing he was having. Because the ending of that fight, the sequence of he was landing everything, dude. Everything he took was hitting, and it was hitting and was hurting him too. It wasn't just point strikes; it was impactful each one. It was significant strikes to hone in on the strikes even more. Um, this if this went longer, I think this was fight of the night easily. It was a short fight, not enough time I think to have been fight of the night. Had it gone maybe into the third, I think easily you give this fight of the night. But great performance by both guys, especially Mullarkey. I'm looking forward to seeing them both turn around, hopefully sometime soon, and see him again. I think Mullarkey, by the way, after the fight, he called out Paddy Pimblett, as did
Oh
Jared Gordon.
yeah, I heard that.
I guess Jared Gordon was first. So Patty actually responded on Twitter saying, let's do it, but he responded to Jared. Jared was first to say it. Curious to see if they make that happen, because if they do, Jared Gordon, Patty Pimblett, that could be a fun fight. Jared Gordon can bang. I don't know if he's going to be able to bang with Patty, but who knows? And then, oh man, this was nasty, dude. Short, sweet, but geez,
Yeah.
this guy had like 7 names. I forgot what his first five were, but Silva de Andrade versus I forgot what his first name was. Perello, dude, what a knockout, man! He caught the guy airborne. This guy, I don't know what the hell Perella was trying to do. He was like in the air. It was like trying to throw like a jumping kick or something. And then Silva de Andrade just caught him with a left hook as he was getting ready to do it, put him to sleep immediately. You can see when Perello landed, he landed, his eyes were open, but he was kind of like, what the hell just happened? Like he probably wasn't even there. And then he takes one more shot to the dome, and that was that. Well deserved bonus for Silva de Andrade. They were saying his mom was sick, he has a baby on the way, so nice to get some little extra cheddar on top of probably the $10 Tina paid him to fight this fight anyway. But
Come on, he's not Oscar De La Hoya, man.
true. Um, yeah, I mean, beautiful. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah,
Again,
no, I mean,
wait here. Let's see what.
there's
Let's
nothing
see.
else to say. I mean, all I have in my notes is there goes my parlay. So
Oh, you took Perello. Good take. Not much to say on this next one. What was Edgar's name? Someone was Stephanie, and someone was something.
Stephanie Edgar,
Stephanie Edgar and Shannon Shannable was her. That's how I remember.
Shanna Young.
Shanna Shannable Young or something. They don't have it there, and they shouldn't. Um, Shannable, my ass didn't do anything. Got
I think fighter pay should probably be scaled to how shitty your nickname is.
Yeah, which and if that's the case, no one's gonna get paid. Everyone's name sucks, man. Most
I think Figueiredo's God of War is excellent.
that one's badass, and it's in Portuguese too, Brazilian Portuguese is language, whatever. It's in one of those. And then there's a couple that are good, but Shannable isn't one of them.
No.
Um, and then to lead off the entire evening, you had Alejandro Perez. Was that his first name? And
It is Alejandro
Johnny Eduardo?
Perez
Yeah.
versus
Neither of these
Johnny.
guys had fought in a while. Eduardo hadn't fought in like 3.5 years or something. Perez hadn't fought in like over 2 years. Uh, Maybe the last time we see Eduardo in the UFC because he's 43. But hey, he looked fine in the first round. I mean, those leg kicks are strong. But ultimately, Perez was able to withstand them. Finishes Eduardo in the second. It's funny because I was watching that fight. I'm like, this feels like one of those fights where I didn't bet on the rounds, but I should have bet the over. And then I want to say maybe like 30 seconds after I had that, I thought the fight ended. So I'm glad I didn't do that. And dude, they were mentioning, I think DC was talking about it. Who was mentioning it? I don't remember seeing an armbar the way he did it, where he just wrapped it up with his legs and just extended it out, and the guy tapped. It looked sweet.
Yeah.
Because they were saying you don't see it that often. I was trying to remember, like, have I seen this? And I don't remember seeing
No.
it. I don't know if you remember seeing it. Unique, cool finish. Can't remember if
Fast.
the EM 50K. I think they gave him 50K.
Oh, I have no
Because I
idea.
think they gave it to four people. He may have gotten it. If he didn't, he should have, because that was a pretty sweet performance. Um, but props to him. I mean, probably the end of Eduardo. Perez, I don't know if we'll see him again. I mean, he hadn't fought in 2 years. I don't know what the reasoning was. Uh, but I mean, I would like to see him again. That was the performance was good, entertaining fight. I don't know if you had anything else to add on top of it for those
No,
two.
I just want to add that the ring rust thing is real. When people say that, oh, even fighters tend to say it a lot. Oh, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. I don't think that's true, man. And especially in
I think it
over the
depends how long, like 3 years probably.
oh, for sure, there has to be 3 years is a significant amount of time. Like, and it doesn't matter that you're training in a dojo or in a gym. The fact that you're now in an arena, and I think it's actually to their benefit that they weren't fighting with a crowd there, because that psychologically must be so much more different. And it's one thing if you're, let's say, Conor McGregor and you're fighting with a crowd because the crowd feeds you. But what if you're the guy that's fighting Conor McGregor?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
depends on the guy. Maybe it helps you.
I have no idea. Like, but I would assume that it's a negative. And so for these guys coming in, it to me it looked like they were knocking off the ring rust. The first round they were a little slow, but they definitely picked the pace up towards the end of that first round. And round two they started opening up a lot more, and that's where you could start seeing the steel start to come through.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean that was the first of our prelims. Honestly, prelims. I think we both agree here. The prelims thoroughly were better than the main
Yeah.
card. Um, Overall, it wasn't a bad event, but the main card really ended up kind of dragging down the event overall. But that was another one in the books. The first of five in October. Next week we have Mackenzie Dern versus Mariana Rodriguez, I think is her first name. Um, I'm looking forward to that fight. I'm not happy that it's the main event, but we'll tackle that then. Any parting thoughts on the event overall?
No, it was very meh. I think.
Yeah.
Uh, that's
Well,
it.
all
Hashtag
right then.
casuals.
Until next week, we'll see how that one pans out. But yep, that's Santos versus Walker for you.
Yeah, and definitely let us know what you guys think. And speaking of which, if you guys are digging this format better, or if you have any like tips or suggestions on how to improve, let us know. Call us casuals. Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, we'll pin those later.